And in a certain way, it's extremely, let's call it spiritual. You could also say religious, you could say, so the thing is, it's very mystical, yeah? And practically every word, our language is not made to this, it's really outerworldly. You sort of leave the realm of something and go to another one. So what I want to say is like the language is not so easy. This is why, by the way, most religions are based on psychedelics, provenly, including Christianity. And this is why they all use these pictures and describe things like the burning chair, or chariot, which goes in the air, whatever, because they can't put actually their experience really in words because there are no words to describe a psychedelic trip. That's first. Yeah. So, and if I do it, then I need to use religious terms.
Are you shocked how the tech elite seem to hate the regular person? Like if you ask the regular person, like, what do you think the head of Twitter or Facebook or all of these people think about you? They think, oh, they want to censor us. They don't want us to speak freely. They want to own our data and all of that stuff. So you're trying to basically rectify that.
Well, so what you think that the ordinary people hate the tech people or the other way around?
I think it's a little bit of both, but I consider myself more of the regular person. I think the average person thinks that the big tech people just basically, think that they're fodder for whatever their algorithms want and however they can make money, something like that.
Well, meaning one other theory, and I'm copying that, what I'm saying now, because it's not my original thought, but like one of the things what Yuval Harari coined was this idea that if humanity, I don't want to say goes bad because I still don't know. I have not reached the conclusion if it's like good or bad or neutral, but it could be hindsight, like in 100 or 200 years, we might look at this time and say we have split up in two species because you have a part of the humanity who says, hey, bring it on. Let's fly to Mars. And by the way, one very simple fact, if you want to go to Mars, we're going to need to change our body because our body is not made for not even Mars travel, not to talk about space travel. Yeah, you die of cancer within some weeks. Yeah. So if we want to go to Mars, it's not just going to Mars. We're going to have to modify, and nobody's talking about that, but I think everybody knows it.
Right. So that's the whole transhumanism movement, basically.
Exactly. So, and by the way, and it's going to happen because we already have it. You have a heart, if you have a stent, I think it's called in English, so it is already a mini technological intervention. And somehow we go comfortable, and we're going to get more and more and more. But there might be a part of the humanity who says, this is not for me. Yeah, I don't want to merge with machines. And again, this sounds already so sci-fi, but it's going to gradually happen. So humanity might split into species. And in 50 years, 100 years, we're going to look back and say, well, and that's already sort of in a mini way happening now because you have these one part of humanity who wants sort of go wider, further, the sky's the limit, let's bring it on. And then you have, I know what I said, the other part who maybe doesn't really, I don't want to say intellectually because this sounds degrading, but right. It's just let's take a positive example, and I really mean it positive. And sorry, by the way, I'm not an English speaker, so yeah. So
You're doing all right.
A lot of political correctness things because I always can say I didn't mean it that way. So now when take a bus driver, so he or she maybe can't explain you how autonomous driving works, yeah. But somehow, I think humans always have a very good gut feeling. So as a collective, we're actually pretty smart, and somehow the bus driver knows this is not going in the right direction. I'm not going to be a bus driver in 10 years. Yeah. And that again makes him maybe resent the people. Yeah. So again, it comes back. We need to sort of take him or her or whatever, on this sort of thing.
Okay. So now link that to psychedelics for me.
First of all, I don't have an answer on that, fully, because I just think but I think the bigger fear what I have is that we don't even discuss the problem. We discuss so many bullshit stuff. Can I say bullshit?
You can say bullshit.
Anyway, this is, I think this is your point. Yeah, this is the point of a lot of friends we have, that a lot of discussions, if you see the real issue, or the real problems, yeah, a lot of discussions are really absurd because they're why don't so? But again, I see it rather through the lens that I'm okay, I understand why the people have this discussion. Take all the identity politics. It is, again, another form of tribalism. How in the 1850s and following, the people invented communism, so to say, and nationalism. Now we're inventing other crazy stuff. Yeah, but it makes us feel at home. It makes us feel us against the rest of it. So how do psychedelics come into it? So where do I start? Because it's like, it's very, so one thing why I'm always a little bit hesitating, so it's very hard, and I have to describe a psychedelic trip first.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, please.
And in a certain way, it's extremely, let's call it spiritual. You could also say religious, you could say, so the thing is, it's very mystical, yeah? And practically every word, our language is not made to this, it's really outerworldly. You sort of leave the realm of something and go to another one. So what I want to say is, like, the language is not so easy. This is why, by the way, most religions are based on psychedelics, provenly, including Christianity. And this is why they all use these pictures and describe things like the burning chair, or chariot, which goes in the air, whatever, because they can't put actually their experience really in words, because there are no words to describe a psychedelic trip. That's first. Yeah. So, and if I do it, then I need to use religious terms. And the problem is that religious terms, in our world especially, are incredibly loaded. So if I use the word soul, then you might think, might think about than I do, and another person, either God, whatever. So I try to stay as neutral and try, for the viewers, to make a little bit of an abstraction and don't think necessarily in the narrow terms of any religion, but in a wider meaning. So when you do psychedelics, you have a part in your brain which constitutes your ego. And this part is, depending which psychedelic you take, is either really reduced to zero or at least heavily regulated down. So it's called default mode mechanism. So practically in this part of the brain, there is something which tells you, you are Dave, and this is Christian. We have a different history. You have all the happiness you received. You have all the pains, all the scars. Everything which makes Dave Dave is there. Yeah, and that goes down again, very down or to zero. Mm-hmm. And interesting, in the same moment you doing that, something else is emerging, or at least is heard. Maybe it's always there philosophically, but you realize it again, hear it, see it, feel it. And now we can call that a soul. We can call that a inner voice. We can call that your subconsciousness. Yeah, it must not necessarily, I'm not saying it proves, by the way, that God is there. That's another discussion. Yeah, but that is definitely what 100% of the people have. And this sort of soul and sort of universal feeling gives you a lot of insights. So, and if I try a little bit to make the main ones, the first one is, which is, by the way, super important, I think, for everybody, is it shows you who you really are and what you really want. So it might sound as a simple question, but most people don't know, or if they know, they are afraid of accepting it in any form. It can be simple stuff. I had people who took psychedelics who were extremely wealthy and realized the only thing I want is spend more time with my family, but I didn't dare to say it because I'm running this big corporation or whatsoever. Anyway, so it sounds, by the way, everything I tell you about psychedelics sometimes sounds super simple because you could read it in every Deepak Chopra book, yeah. But you perceive it on a level that it's an absolute truth. You come out of it and like, okay, I realize now what I want, and I'm gonna change my life in a way that I'm happy.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about tech instead of nonstop yelling, check out our tech playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, check out our full episode playlist. They're right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.